illustrious first vice chair, Marielena Lopez. She gave the opening remarks, and she did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
She made us all very proud. All right, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna call this meeting to order at 6:11 p.m. Right at the outset, I'd like us to hold a moment of silence, in recognition of the tragic events in Uvalde, Texas, a couple of days ago. All right, thank you. It was a horrific event, and it's something that has been happening with an alarming level of frequency, and it seems like a lot of the country is becoming, disturbingly desensitized to these types of things happening. But that's why we do what we do, is because through the work that you all are doing and the work that we're all doing together, the goal is to push our elected officials to enact the kind of changes that will prevent things like this from happening going forward. So as tragic and as heartbreaking as this has been, we need to use this as fuel to fight harder and to go further and to push our electeds to do this and to push to get people elected who will make these kinds of changes. At this point, I would entertain a motion to approve the last meeting's minutes.
So moved.
All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, Marielena, you are taking minutes today. I see you drinking a soda. That was Frank Mora, and who was our second?
Millie Dorovic.
Okay, thank you, Millie. All right. Does anyone have any objections to the approval of last meeting's minutes?
It's about you and Pete. The money. You received this.
All right, hearing no objections, that passes unanimously.
Needless to say, he's pretty upset.
No.
Okay. Whoever's the host right now could. Okay, thank you. At this point, I would move to. I would accept a motion to set the agenda.
So moved.
That's Frank Moore again. Do we have a second?
I second.
Eddie
Lewis.
Lewis.
Yes.
All right, great. Mr. Lewis, please mute yourself once you're done speaking, because there's a lot of background noise. Thank you, sir. All right. Are there any objections to setting the agenda? All right, thank you. That also passes unanimously, Madam First Vice Chair. All right, we're going to go ahead and move right into reports of officers and standing committees. I'll lead off with the chair's report. First, with regards to the agenda, we mentioned it in the WhatsApp chat, but I'd like to just clear this up for everyone, who's on here. We were going to have an election for our treasurer. We announced it maybe 2 weeks ago via email. I believe we sent one or two different emails out regarding that. We have not gotten any interest. We haven't gotten any expressions of interest in that position. We actually received one expression of interest, but that person is waiting to. That person has to investigate some compliance issues with their current job. So, having no expressions of interest otherwise, we're postponing the election. I want to make clear that everyone is encouraged to let us know if they would like to run for treasurer. Just go ahead and let us know. Our secretary sent out an email with the form for you to go ahead and let us know that. So in the interim, just if you want to do it, reach out and let us know. So that's just addressing the change in the agenda this evening. There are a few things that we have going on and a few things that have already happened that I'd like to go ahead and discuss in this report. One, a month ago, we resumed our small dollar fundraising, not small dollar, excuse me. A month ago, we resumed our at-home fundraiser program. This is a program that that Skip Pita, as our finance chair, as our previous finance chair, had run. It entailed, small at-home fundraisers where a particular person would volunteer to host and tap into their network to raise money for the party. We did the first one a month ago in Key Biscayne. Jackie Kellogg, president of Key Biscayne Dems, basically organized that and took the lead on that. It was hosted at Christina Bracken. Christina Bracken was nice enough to, host at her place. At that fundraiser, we had Senator Pizzo and Senator Jones, Chevron Jones. They spoke, they took questions, they gave a briefing of the legislative session and what had happened, and they took questions from the audience. At that fundraiser, we were able to raise just under $2,500, which basically covers all of our overheads and then some for an entire month. So that's on top of all of our normal contributions that we get. So that was a great start. Last week, I believe it was, we had our second fundraiser, and that was in Coral Gables. It was very generously hosted and co-hosted by Shed Boren and Gregory Frankel, respectively. Many of you know Shed Boren. Many of you are going to know Greg Frankel because he's, he applied to become a member and he'll be sworn in tonight. Our speaker at that night, our speaker last week was Daniela Levine Cava. And we also had Manny Diaz, the chair of the Florida Democratic Party, came and spoke and discussed the coordinated campaign program that FDP is rolling out or has just rolled out. That had probably twice as many attendees as the previous one, and we were able to raise just over $11,000 at that fundraiser. So it was a great success, and it's in excess of 100% more than we had budgeted in our budget that we passed last month. We raised more than twice as much money as we had budgeted to raise from that fundraiser. So we are somewhat ahead of schedule now. So I'm very proud of the finance team. I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge Jackie Kellogg, Skip Pita, Shed Boren, Greg Frankel, and Maria Elena Lopez for all the hard work that they did there. And if there's anyone I'm forgetting, I apologize. It's just because we have a lot on the agenda. Our next, let's see, we should be having another one in late June. I'll, give out more information as that develops. I would also like to discuss our actual meeting today. I know a lot of you were looking forward to an in-person meeting. Believe me, I was looking forward to an in-person meeting. I was really looking forward to it. I asked Maria Elena, I told her we were going to get some food. I was going to see if we could play some music, make it very social. But unfortunately, the way that things turned over the last week and a half or so, it just would not have been responsible for us to have had it in person. I had a number of our members reach out to me privately and express, discomfort with meeting in person under these conditions. And, I just couldn't in good conscience do that. I assure you, as soon as it is safe, we will be back in person. We already paid for the venue. We've rescheduled it. And as soon as it's safe, we'll be back in person. And I'll make sure we get a lot of work done and we have a good time. We'll show you how much we appreciate all of the work that you do. The last thing I'd like to discuss this evening is an event that we have coming up this weekend. I'm sure all of you have gotten the emails. I'm sure those of you who check our Instagram and our Twitter have seen that we have a gubernatorial forum coming up this Saturday in North Miami Beach. It is free to attend. The only condition of attendance is that you have to fill out the mobilize link so that we can put you on the list for it. There's a capacity issue, and we have to make sure that we can, safely have the number of people that we need to in the venue. So we need to know in advance how many people are going to be there. So I encourage you, if you intend to come, fill out that mobilize link. We have made it. The team that's working on it has made it unbelievably easy to sign up for it. So just make sure that you go ahead and do that. It is a gubernatorial forum. It is not a debate. It's going to be held in the city of North Miami Beach at the Julius Littman Theater. That's right there it's right next to their City Hall building. We are going to have the three leading candidates in terms of the polling. We're going to have the three leading candidates in terms of polling there. That is going to be Charlie Crist, Nikki Fried, and our own Senator Annette Tadeo. It's going to be hosted by Jim DeFeedy, which is fantastic. I know all of you who are familiar with Jim, should know what a big deal it is to be able to get him to host that. So I'm very excited about that. And it's going to be a great event. We have a lot of people working very hard on it, but taking the lead on it are David Geller and Christopher Richmond. And they've been doing a lot of work on this. I think we'll have an event that we can all be proud of. And I would like to see as many of you there as possible. We do need volunteers. We need volunteers to help set up in advance. We need volunteers to perhaps to usher, to work as ushers in the building. And, this is where the volunteers come from. So this is my ask for anyone who would like to be a volunteer. Reach out to myself, reach out to David Geller, or you can reach out to Christopher Richmond. You can email me at chair@miamidadedems.org. And, we'd really, we can really use as much help as we can get, because we want to make this a great event for the residents of Miami-Dade County who are going to be up there. Okay. All right. That concludes my report. I would yield the floor to our first vice chair, Maria Elena Lopez.
Hi, good evening. Mine's going to be nice and sweet. We have elections coming up. We have wonderful candidates that are running. And my ask is, each and every one of you adopt a candidate. Get to know that candidate. And either canvass, phone bank, do postcard mailings, whatever you want. But if we all just adopt one candidate and you feel passionate about that candidate, I know we'll be able to turn around this county. We have a lot of municipal elections. We have the state elections. So please, it's not only on the federal level, but also on the local elections. On this Zoom, I know there's some candidates that are here, and I hope that at the end they can introduce themselves, and that way you start getting familiar. But please adopt a candidate. They all need help. And I know that if we do that, we will be able to win this time around. So that's it.
All right, we have someone in the chat who's already volunteered. Thank you, Senator Pizzo. We appreciate that. You're already on the program, so thank you for that. But yeah, everybody, we do encourage. We do need more than just Senator Pizzo to volunteer. So let's get some people in there. All right, I yield the floor to our state committee woman at this point.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Sorry we're not in person. I'm going to do dual duty as both state committee woman and as legislative liaison. And first of all, with respect to state committee woman, I have been actually in touch with Grace Carrington, who is part of the caucus, the club and caucus committee for FDP. And she is going to take a second look at some of the data that has been submitted for our clubs that were in provisional status pending the submission of a signature here or a bank statement there. So that is slowly but surely resolving. with respect to legislative liaison, I think the best thing that I can do is probably turn it over, if he is so interested in speaking, to Senator Pizzo, who has pulled off a coup with respect to condo inspection. So I regret, sorry, not sorry, to put you on the spot, but please, if you are able, if you could explain what's been going on and what's just concluded.
Hi, everybody. Sorry, I'm still up in Tallahassee, and thank you, Nancy. The House just passed a couple hours ago the bill that incorporates condo reform. So it's been a fast-paced past day and a half, and pleased to report that we passed something in a nonpartisan or bipartisan fashion that's going to save lives, long overdue. And I apologize for speaking candidly about it, but and characterizing it this way. But instead of the bullshit that we did with, wasting time on and just being hurtful and picking on the underserved with "Don't Say Gay" and critical race theory and trans athletes last year and all this stuff, this was like the first time, and it was actually, I will tell you, a pleasant sort of mood and atmosphere. And I think Representative Dottie Joseph, our own from back home, just did a wonderful sort of summary of said, folks, this is the stuff that we should work on. Not the back and forth, not the hate and the adversarial vitriol and all that, but this is what happens. This is how wonderful things can be when we work together. So she did a great job. The whole day delegation did. But Nancy, you're not putting me on the spot. I appreciate it. I'm happy to be here. And here's the thing. Sort of the theme, and I heard from a lot of people, Democrats do a lot of incredible work behind the scenes. We're just not permitted for getting credit. But the good news is that most of us that work on these things, we're not really interested in the credit. Often we take the blame. But, even reporters, and my mom said, your name's not going to be on this bill, but it would not have happened without you. So it's you guys on Inside Baseball and understand the nuance of politics. My kids, my family understand that I pushed and pushed and pushed, and it finally got passed. So it doesn't have my name on it. And I said on the floor, I don't have pride of authorship. I have pride of partnership. But our constituents, 64% of my constituents who live in condos are going to be safer when this bill goes into effect. Thank you. Happy to be here.
And Mr. Chair, that was great news. With respect to the insurance reform, there's going to be a bit of a delay before any payment, if at all, any reduction in fees get to homeowners. In the meantime, hurricane season starts June 1st with no particular reduction in rates for now. So that's going to have to be something that's in the future. And unless the third part of my report with respect to elections, and I'm very grateful to Maria Elena for mentioning all of the different candidates that are going to join us later today. But I did have a conversation with David Geller, and I don't want to steal his fire, but I don't believe he is currently on the call. We had a conversation about the possibility of some of you as DEC members running for community council. Now, I know we have Councilman Johnny Farias with us, who can probably explain better than anybody what is involved in being a community council member. But for anybody who is looking for a starter position in public service, I believe the filing fee is only $100. There are tons of vacancies right now. And so if you live in unincorporated Miami-Dade, the elections will be in August. And so if you are just getting your feet wet and would like to be engaged in public service as kind of a starter position, community councils positions are available. So I will end that.
I just wanted to say that there was a very good person that's my community council representative out here in the Redland, and his name is Steve Green. He's a good Democrat, and I'm proud to say that a few of us from Dedicated Dems, and I want to really shout out to Doug Casey from our group. We provided the technological backing that he needed in order to win, and he won without a runoff. It was 50.01% back in August of 2020. And he's in for 4 years, and he's doing a great job on the community council. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Is Jane Moskowitz on here?
She was.
She was. Let's see.
There
we go.
I'm just hiding. So do you want me to can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
You want me to report on the issues committee?
Both issues, and you're now co-chairing voter protection with Wayne. So if you want to go ahead and discuss both of those, if you have anything to report.
I don't on the vote pro well, I do, except if Wayne is here, I'd rather he did it. So I'll start with issues and y'all tell me if Wayne's around.
He is not here right now.
Okay, so then I'll start with Vote Pro. I'm glad to see that Greg Frankel has joined the DEC. He's been doing a lot of work on voter protection. We're just finishing up and are about to launch an email to and a website for all prior voter protection volunteers to re-sign up. So we'll get and that's a list of between close to 1,000 people who were volunteers in one form or another, to get them re-signed up, and then we're going to go on and recruit. You know, last time we were in COVID conditions, God willing, we won't be this time. So there'll be a lot more in-person stuff, and we're expecting more shenanigans at the polls. Very important for anyone who wants to volunteer. You don't have to be a lawyer. You don't have to go every day. You know, the big days are election day. I guess it's August 23rd and November 8th. And, you know, we'll get the information out on the DEC WhatsApp as soon as it's nailed down. So that's voter protection. On issues committee, our next meeting is scheduled June 2nd. It was going to be tomorrow night, but when y'all had, you know, Val Demings and this and Saturday night, I figured it'd be me at that meeting. So I moved it. And that meeting, Brian Olson and I are going to do, it's going to deal with some bits and pieces of climate change. You know, we're not going to change the world, but we have a few good ideas. And I do want to mention, although Brian will also, that we all need to be writing our commissioners on this stupid South Dade Technology Park where they, you know, which is a developer boondoggle. And it's easy to write them. It's District X, whatever X is your number, at Miami-Dade .gov, and tell them to hold the line. So that's about it.
Thank you, Jane, and we all appreciate the work that you're doing, you know, on both committees. You've been doing tremendous work with issues, and stepping in to help out with voter protection is really, you know, you're going above and beyond. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Mary Beth, would you like to go ahead and talk about voter registration?
Yes, I do. Hold on one second. Hi. So I'm just actually texting back and forth with Antonio Camejo. He and Carl Muller, who is his FO, they're both from FDP, from the effort that FDP is putting on. They are, I just sent them the link. unfortunately, a couple of weeks ago, I told them all about the meeting in person and I forgot that I told them that. And he's at the firefighters wondering what we're doing. So yeah, I messed up. So anyway, he's looking to get in right now. He might be in the waiting room. I was just texting Christopher. Oh, he's saying he's not coming on now, but the other one probably, Carl Mueller, might not be available for 15 minutes. In any case, I just wanted to, if he gets admitted and he's on, I want to let him say a few words. But they're doing a phenomenal job. He is rounding up a bunch of people that are paid in a paid VR program, and they're doing a great job and their numbers are great. And he'll tell you more about that if he gets on. Lisa and I are doing a voter registration training tomorrow night at 7 p.m. You all should have received an invitation to that via email from our secretary, because the entire DEC was invited, and it was, I think, distributed to both DEC, the entire DC, and to club presidents, club and caucus presidents. So anyone is still more than welcome to join us. I just shared the link in the chat. So if anyone is interested in doing voter registration training, and let me tell you who should be interested. Anyone who may or do as Mary Elena suggested, which is become affiliated with a campaign. You'd be very surprised that very often there are not a lot of people on a campaign that actually are aware of how to do voter registration, because they are so focused on knocking doors for their candidate and getting their lit out. They're not always prepared to actually do something to help someone register to vote when they encounter that person at the door. That's not to say it's universally they're unprepared, but I've found that in general. So your education in that area could be vital to any candidate you hope to help. Number two, if you have family, friends, neighbors that you speak to on a regular basis that you want to help to get registered to vote. Number three, if you actually want to volunteer at voter registration events that we may be helping to get going around the county. And of course, as we get into election season, this becomes critically important, and understanding what the deadlines are and what the process is and how to enroll and vote by mail is critically important, because vote by mail is key. I don't know if you all received the vote by mail form from the elections department. They mailed it out to households, encouraging people to enroll and vote by mail, because it is safe and it is easy. So it's easy to enroll and it's easy to do if you do it right. And so what we like to do is make sure that every one of us, not just those of us who might volunteer for voter registration, but every one of us in the DEC can speak intelligently to our own family and friends, and even to ourselves, right? You'd be surprised how many calls I get around election season from people who are activists and have been active for many more years than I've been active in politics, but are confused by what exactly they have to do with their vote by mail, or when exactly they're allowed to vote or turn it in or not turn in their vote by mail, or how they can get someone registered who might be sitting out of state but is going to be here for the election even though they live here. There's some confusion over simple issues sometimes, and it would be great. Anybody who would like to attend the voter registration training tomorrow night, it's at 7 p.m. It just helps you be a little bit more prepared to help others, whether even that's just your own family, or that's if you're participating on a campaign or in a voter registration effort. So please feel free to attend. Antonio, are you on right now? I don't know if he's been added. Maybe we'll check back.
Yeah, I don't think he's come in yet.
Okay.
I thought I saw that he was added.
Oh, he was?
Antonio Cameja, are you there? No, I don't see here, but we'll check back before we end the meeting, if you don't mind, Robert.
Yeah, we can definitely circle back to that.
Thanks.
Mary Beth, if I could ask you, how many of these voter registration trainings have you done so far this year?
This year, probably 3 this year so far. This one was at the request of someone specific, Rodrigo, who wanted to have it because he's actually organizing his neighborhood. And and so in his organization efforts, he's got people who are interested in meeting, and while they're meeting, they'll observe this training. And so, but we are opening it to the wider community as we always do. And again, I'm glad you said that, Robert, because I'm happy to do a training for your club, caucus, group of friends, whatever it is you want to do. We're happy to help train folks. We're also happy to help you get the forms that you need. We have, voter registration T-shirts and banners, anything to help support the effort in getting voter registration done. And if you have an idea of where there might be a great place to do voter registration in your community, then please, by all means, give me a call and say, hey, we're thinking of this. Do you think that's a great idea? And then we'll help you get that organized so that you can get that done with your friends, family, or whoever, or neighbors, or club, or caucus, or whomever. So please reach out. It's marybethprusher@gmail.com. So, and I believe if you just do voter registration at miamidadedems.org, it comes to me as well. So, so please reach out for whatever, and we will do another voter registration. There may be a few more before we get deep into the heart of election season. So over the course of the summer and in September, perhaps. And really a lot of what we'll do closer as we get to September is we'll get to the deadline for, vote by mail, but then we really need to pivot and start focusing on getting people enrolled in vote by mail. I'm sorry, voter registration. I'm sorry. The deadline for voter registration is 29 days before an election, but vote by mail, we really need to focus on getting people enrolled. So.
Okay, really quickly, MB, somebody's sharing their screen right now, I think accidentally.
I don't know what that's about.
Do you see it also?
Yes,
Yeah, I see it also, and
All right.
somebody's writing on it.
Oh, it's me.
All right. First of all, I'm very relieved to say that it's not me, because I thought it was me by mistake.
Wait, it's all of us. Somebody put a happy face, but I can write it.
Okay.
There we go. All right, so now that that's resolved, I just want to say to the body, these trainings that Mary Beth put and Lisa put on are excellent trainings. And you may feel like I've done voter registration before, I've educated people before, I've been involved in the party for a number of years. There are changes that have happened over the last legislative session that affect, the information that we should be giving people. And these trainings that Mary Beth and Lisa do are excellent trainings. I would highly encourage everyone to go ahead and take one. If you haven't taken one yet, definitely take one. If you have taken one, definitely take a refresher and get yourself educated on where we are right now with voter registration. And I saw Antonio had come on here. You wanted to circle back to Antonio, is that correct, MB?
Yes, Antonio, I spoke about you before you arrived on scene here. And I mentioned that you are coordinating the voter registration effort on behalf of FDP here in Miami-Dade County, and that you and FO were going to be joining us. And I wanted to give you the opportunity to speak, if you don't mind, to tell us about, because you've impressed me when we've talked about, first of all, you've impressed me. I've known Antonio prior to this when he was an FO in a previous election season. So he's always been a tremendously hardworking activist here in the community, but also the numbers that they're able to do in voter registration with the paid program with FDP, and they were still ramping it up. Last we spoke about that. And when I go to turn in, a handful of forms at the elections department, I can see that Antonio or some of his FOs have gone in and turned in hundreds. So it's a good thing. So I'd like to give him an opportunity to tell us a little bit about the program. Are you there, Antonio? And can you do that?
Yeah, I sure can.
Great.
Well, first of all, thank you, Mary Beth. That's really kind of you. We've actually switched to a regular, campaign right now with volunteers, canvassing, phone banking, all that. Before, for about a 6-month period, we were running a paid canvassing program, which was going really well, to be honest. We started off at maybe 70 to 80 VR forms. a week, and by the end we were doing about 1,200 a week. And between Broward and Miami-Dade, about 800 in Miami-Dade and about 400 in Broward. But yeah, as of I'd say about 3 weeks ago, we switched to a more typical campaign, and that's kind of the reason why I was hoping to get a chance to speak today. Is because we're looking for both, anybody who might be interested in being a volunteer for the campaign, and we're also looking for field organizers. I currently have one field organizer in Miami-Dade. We're looking to hire at least 3 more in the first wave, and possibly a few more afterwards. Well, not possibly, for sure, a few more down the road. And we just want to know, if anybody might be interested, or if you know anybody that might be interested, they could reach out to me in being a field organizer for the party.
Well, why don't you go ahead and put your information in the chat if you haven't already, and check it to see if anybody reaches out to you.
All right. Thank you. I will.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks so much, Antonio.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that, Antonio. Are there any other committee chairs who'd like to give a report this evening?
Yes, we have to vote in our new members.
Well, I was saving you for last. I was saving the best for last.
Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, all right, so you're up. There you go. The floor is yours, Mr. Credentials Co-Chair.
So the list of new members that are to be voted in today, I'll read the names. Gabriel Gonzalez, Daniel Horton Diaz, Gianna Bonner, Nicholas Besada, Kevin Cho Tipton, Gregory Frankel, Otto Feldmeyer, Sabrina Cova Juan, Adam Benna, Helado Jose Armesto, Ashley Gant, and Ralph Reichard. So if there's any discussion of those members, can I get a suggestion to vote them in?
Would someone like to make that motion?
I'll move it.
I'll move.
I heard Frank Morrow with the motion. Do we have a second?
Second, Nucleus Shelton.
Okay.
So any opposed? I guess then by acclamation, we have a
I think somebody put in the chat a question and an acknowledgement that they oppose, so I didn't want that to go unnoticed. It was not my comment, but I'm a fast reader.
Why don't you?
No.
Go ahead, Madam Vice Chair.
It says, I would like to know if Eladio.
Well, hang on a second, Madam Vice Chair. Why don't we let the person who read the comment ask the question? Is Eladio on here? Actually, I don't believe Eladio is even on here.
Wasn't it Millie Herrera that wrote that?
Yes, it is me. I am here.
Right.
And Eladio is on here. So if you'd like to go ahead and ask your question.
Yes, I would like to know, because I've known Eladio Armestos for a very long time, and we have sparred several years in Spanish language TV and radio. And I would like to know if he is still anti-gay and if he's still anti-choice. Because I oppose him being a member of the DEC. He was already kicked out once.
All right, Mr. Ernesto. Mr. Ernesto, would you like to respond to that? Mr. Ernesto, you're still muted and your camera is off. I'd like to give you a chance to respond to that question.
Sound like we need to move on.
Yeah, but what we have to do now then is we would I guess we could entertain a motion to separate Mr. Ernesto because I don't believe there's any objections to any of the others. And entertain a motion to vote on Mr. Ernesto individually.
I make that motion.
Second,
Who second? I'm sorry, who seconded?
Raymond Carville.
Thank you very much.
Wait a minute. You already got a motion on the floor, Robert, before they made this second motion. So you
Okay.
need to finish, your first motion.
Well, we can also, but by parliamentary procedure, we can also have the mover of the motion remove it. Would you like to withdraw your motion, Mr. Mora?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, I will.
At this point, I would entertain a motion. Does that satisfy you, Ms. Owens?
Yes,
Okay, great.
Point of parliamentary procedure.
Dr. Lothar, the floor is yours.
Actually, the move to bifurcate does not supersede the main motion. It is a procedural motion. So the next time this happens, we do not have to get rid of the main motion because it's a question of how we proceed on the voting on the main motion. So it is now moot because the maker of the main motion has withdrawn that motion, but it was unnecessary to withdraw it.
Thank you,
If
Dr.
it's not unnecessary. That's the proper procedure. And then you go with your second motion.
All right, thank you both. Thank you, Dr. Lothar, for that. You reminded me why I enjoyed your parliamentary procedure class so much a couple of years ago.
That class.
You took that, yeah, so yeah, exactly. So at this point, being that Mr. Mora's motion had been withdrawn, actually, Mr. Ernesto, I see that your microphone is on now.
Yes, yes.
Would you like to respond to Ms. Herrera's question?
I do not recall hearing it.
Ms. Herrera?
Yes, I would like to know if Mr. Ernesto is still anti-choice and anti-gay, as he has been in the past. He has called me on Spanish TV several times an abortionist. So I would like to know if he is still anti-choice and still anti-gay.
I am not anti anything. I am pro things, and I think it is wrong for you to depict me as anti anything.
Well, I would like to know if you're still anti-choice and anti-gay. I would like to know.
I've never been anti-choice and I've never been anti-gay.
Ms.
In fact, I'm gay
Herrera,
myself.
if you give me a moment, Ms. Herrera, please. Would you classify yourself as what people refer to as pro-life?
I would classify myself as pro-life.
Does that satisfy your question, Ms. Herrera?
Well, I object to him being a member of the DEC.
I understand. Yeah, no. You've already objected.
Let me, if I may just expand a little bit. If he goes on Spanish radio and TV again and expresses those issues, and he says, I am a member of, as he used to do in the past for many, many years, I'm a member of the Democratic Party and I am pro-life. I am anti-choice. I do not think that homosexuals should marry. He does that. So he would be speaking on our behalf.
That is false.
We all understand that, Ms. Herrera.
That is false. I have never spoken on behalf of the Democratic Party. I've always spoken on behalf of myself.
As a member of the DEC, as a former member of the DEC, you already kicked out once, by the way.
I was never kicked out.
Excuse me. All right. Thank you. I think the point has been made. I appreciate your honesty, Mr. Ernesto, excuse me. I think, Ms. Herrera, the body takes your point and understands, your concern. And I think at this point, I trust the body to, make the decision that's best for our organization.
I believe that no one has the right to speak on behalf of the party or on behalf of the executive committee unless they have been so authorized. And I believe that if anybody were to speak on behalf of the party or on behalf of the executive committee without authorization, that person should be censured. He should be reprimanded.
Okay, well, thank you for articulating that, Mr. Armesto. Appreciate your honesty again with your answers. At this point, I'd entertain a motion to approve Eladio Jose Armesto's membership in the DEC.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Mr. Chair, point of order. This is Angel.
Yes, Angel.
There are some questions that I was kind of thinking that were asked in the chat.
Sure. What are the questions? Would you like to? I mean, yes. What would you like to ask those questions? Is that what you'd like to do?
Sure. Gabriel Perez asked, why was Eladio kicked out before? And then Ale de Cid said, would it be possible to get clips or references to those events and his prior record of membership?
I have a folder with former chair Zeller, and this is back in 2002. I will look for it.
We also didn't get an answer about the LGBTQ inequality and same-sex marriage issue.
He goes on TV and on radio, Spanish radio and TV.
Okay, let Mr. Armesto speak for. So someone's asking him a question regarding his view, his current view on marriage equality and LGBTQ rights. Mr. Armesto, would you like to discuss that? Would you like to answer that question?
First of all, I don't believe that the Democratic Party is going to be successful on election day if it does not show respect for the views of different members of the community. Intolerance and bigotry has no place in the Democratic Party. And what I'm hearing from this individual is basically intolerance and bigotry.
Okay, well, speaking of intolerance and bigotry, Mr. Armesto, that segues very nicely into the question that you were just asked. Would you like to elaborate on your position?
I have never been expelled from the Democratic Executive Committee.
That's not the question that you've been asked, sir.
Oh, what is the question?
If you let me finish, the question that you've been asked, Mr. Armesto, is what are your current views on LGBTQ rights and marriage equality?
My current view is very simple. No one should be granted or receive or demand a right based upon an alleged sexual behavioral choice, identity, or expression. Our rights have to be based and contingent upon constitutional or scientific basis. That is the source of our rights. No one should, not even myself, should be granted any type of right based on what I claim that I do or don't do.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Armesto. I believe you've elaborated your position, adequately for our body. Everyone in the chat, let's, we have a procedure. There's been a motion. Is there a second to approve Mr. Armesto's entry into this body?
Can we have a poll? Is there a way, this is Carol Jackson, is there a way we can have a poll?
What do we?
Well, we need a second before we go to a poll.
I do not think there's a second, Mr. Chair. I don't.
I know, believe me, I understand. But Carol Jackson's asked a question. I'm trying to answer everybody's question. Carol, we do not need a poll unless we have a second, and that means that we will go into a vote. Does that answer your question?
No, it does not. I think that you don't have a second, and I think that this should not move forward, obviously, until we have a second. But the question is, should we even be entertaining this at all at this time?
Okay, well, thank you.
Robert.
Hang on just a second, please.
Okay.
Our procedure is that, we would entertain we would ask for a motion. There has been a motion made. There is no second, so we do not need any kind of a poll.
Robert, I did second.
Okay, all right, there's a second. Can you go ahead and launch the poll, please, Christopher?
Sure, give me a second.
Thank you.
The poll is still not launched. Please hold on a
We're
second.
launching the poll.
I have to correct, because this specific question wasn't pre-written, so I have to do it.
No problem, take your time.
Okay, it should be live if people can see it.
And Christopher, you're monitoring the poll, right? Poll results?
Yes.
Okay, great. If you can go ahead and give us updates as to like what percentage has responded.
Well, there's 48 out of 68 have responded, so 70%
Okay.
have.
All right.
I don't see my phone.
You don't?
How are you logged in? Are you on a computer or on a phone?
I would make the comment that we already know the result.
Well, let's respect the process, please, Mr. Co-Chair.
Who was the person who could not see the poll? I just want to double check that you can now see the poll.
I think that was Charlene Butler. Was that you, Charlene?
Yes.
Why don't we just announce that, to be clear, if you don't have the poll?
I voted.
Okay, great.
Someone didn't get the poll, please put your vote in the chat.
So 56 people have voted. That's 82% participation. 57.
Yeah, I'd like everyone to vote on this, please.
Okay, only 58 out of 68 have voted, so there are 10 people who have not voted, but is there anyone else who'd like to vote? Because keep it open.
Let's go before the Lord debates.
To be clear, there are a couple.
Father God, just come before you.
There are not.
Repeat that, please, Christopher. Thank you.
There are some people who aren't members, Christopher, in the group, because we admitted some people to speak that weren't.
Oh, okay.
That's true. Yeah. Okay. I don't think, I mean, the voting has essentially stopped. There aren't any new.
Go ahead and publish the results,
Okay.
please.
All right. Okay. Can everyone see that?
Yes. Okay, Mr. Armesto, that motion does not pass. Moving on, the remaining 9, was it the remaining 9 members, Mr. Co-Chair?
Give me a second. Do you want me to read the names again?
Sure, go ahead and read the names again.
Okay, the remaining members or potential members vote on Gabriel Gonzalez, Daniel Horton Diaz, Gianna Bonner, Nicholas Besada, Kevin Cho Tipton, Gregory Frankel, Autumn Feldmeyer, Sabrina Cobo Juan, Adam Bena, Ashley Gant, and Ralph Richard.
Okay. At this point, we'd entertain a motion to accept the remaining members.
Mr. Chair, I would like to make the motion to accept the aforementioned members into our DEC.
Second.
Okay, the second is Ms. Moskowitz. The mover was Mr. Shelton. Okay, great. Christopher, would you launch that poll, please?
Maybe we could ask simply if there are any objections.
Actually, you know what? You're correct. Thank you, Mr. Co-Chair. Are there any objections to admitting the remaining 9 members?
None, I don't have any.
Hearing no objections, congratulations. You are all now members of the DEC. All right, Mr. Shelton, you joined, I believe you joined us late. Would you like to give us a report for the Labor Committee?
I can certainly do that, Mr. Chair. Good evening, you all. I bring you all greetings from the Miami-Dade Democratic Labor Caucus. We have been super involved in some of the organizing efforts that have been taking place here in Miami.
All right, Mr. Shelton, we're having trouble hearing you. Perhaps move to a different location.
County. There are allies, labor supporters. So a lot of you all have showed up in Hialeah for their. Oh Lord, can you? Oh man, can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, excellent. So good evening, everyone. Again, I just wanted to.
No, it's still choppy.
Ask him, do we have another thing on while he got that on? He's gotta do that. Do we have 2 things on at one time? Do we have 2 devices on, like a phone and the TV? I mean, and the computer? Because that will cut you off. Look, everything frozen up. Okay.
Mr. Chair, Nucleus typed in the chat he's not going to be able to do his report. He's having connection issues.
Okay. All right. That's unfortunate, but you can let us know if there's anything that you need to communicate to the body, and we can go ahead and email it out for you, Nucleus. All right. At this point, we have no more reports to go ahead and give. I would, if there are any elected officials in the, at the meeting who would like to go ahead and, speak for the good of the order, talk about your campaign, any candidates who are running, who would like to speak about any events that you have coming up, we go ahead and yield the floor to you. If you could raise your hands so that we can call on you in order. Okay, Johnny Farias, you are up, sir.
Yes, good evening, everyone, and thank you, Mr. Chair, for the time. Basically, I mean, I did to introduce myself real quick. I'm Johnny Farias. I was a former community council member. I am now running for a house seat number 118, which is in the Kendall area from 8th Street down to 232 Street, and then west from the Turnpike on 117th Avenue to 147th Avenue. I have no present events coming up, not at a second. I will be soon. But basically, I just want to let everyone know, please, if you want to reach out and you live in the area, give me a call. I'll put my number in the chat. And we can talk more. I know that there's other people that want to talk, so I'll leave my introduction of myself another time. And thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Montalvo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hi, everyone. This is Angel Montalvo. I am currently running to represent Florida's 27th Congressional District. That's entirely in Miami-Dade County. Just wanted to let everybody know I'm pretty excited. We're really close to qualifying to be on the ballot. So if anybody wanted to help support our campaign, I'm going to leave our information in the group chat. And I look forward to speaking to anyone. I make myself very available. And I look forward to working with everybody here to do voter registration, voter registration and any other, events and support our Democrats. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Is there anyone else who has anything for the good of the order this evening?
Yeah, Raymond Carville.
Mr. Carville?
Good evening. My name is Raymond Carville. I'm a retired police major with the City of Miami Police Department, and I'm currently a candidate. I filed already a candidate for the City of Miami Garden Residential Seat number 2. And I will greatly appreciate any support I can get. I know there are other people that might have their own choice, but again, I bring a lot of wisdom and understanding and trying to get our community together, to work together. So I appreciate this time.
You're welcome. Thank you for speaking. Mr. Olson.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just make it quick. For the Environmental Caucus, there are 2 things mentioned before. Jane Maskowitz mentioned before about the asking people to tell their commissioner to vote against the development in South Dade, and we're going to send an email. We have the letter ready for that. And even the people who supported it, please ask them. There's a lot of money supporting this project, and there is a possibility of flipping. So please thank even the ones who said yes in the May 19th meeting. The next meeting is June 1st. We want to get let the commissioners know where we stand, because at the June 1st meeting, there's no public input. So we do want to have everyone who's possible to communicate with them. Second thing is the Miami Waterkeepers announced that there is a proposal to ban mangroves in City of Miami parks. And the vote is going to be on June 9th. I put the link in the chat. And I don't think that's illegal. I don't think it's going to pass, but I would like, it's good for people to know, the public, to let them know that this is not acceptable. So this is for eliminating the ability to eliminate mangroves from City of Miami parks. Thank you.
To go along with that, Brian, it's Joe Carolla that's sponsoring that proposal on the commission.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes. Mr. Vasquez, the floor is
How
yours.
are you, sir? Thank you very much for the invitation to come here tonight. I got a real couple of quick comments as a form of introduction and what I'm doing. But I want to make sure that we understand that I am, we're approaching Memorial Day. And that's a day when we remember more than 1.2 million military service members who died in our wars dating back to the American Revolution through the recently ended war in Afghanistan. There are approximately 66,000 veterans in Miami-Dade County with issues of homelessness and other housing issues. As a disabled veteran who served our country honorably in time of war, I have a history of serving causes larger than me. I worked diligently to support our veteran populations at Temple University and Miami-Dade College. I'm an active member of the American Legion Post 32 in Miami Springs, and I currently serve as a city councilman. I am running for the office of Miami-Dade County Commissioner, District 6, to bring this experience and commitment of service. Now, folks are telling me this is a tough race. I got 4 Republicans running against me. And that, is this the toughest thing I've ever done? And my answer is no. When I was serving in the Air Force, I had an accident on the base. And it was so traumatic that they had to amputate part of my left leg. So at 19 years old, I had to learn how to walk again. So yeah, this is a tough race, but I'm tough enough for it. So I'm available to be adopted by anyone who wants to. I can use all the help we'll need, but it is a doable race, and I'm ready to kick butt and take names. And so, and I'd be remiss to say that as a man, I have absolutely no right to tell, comment, coerce, legislate what women do with their bodies. I want to be very clear about that. So I'm a union member, always been a union member. I was a professor. And with the help of you guys, I won that race in Miami Springs by 70% in a red city, which is part of this district. Let's get out here and make some noise. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm adopting you, Victor. I've adopted you already.
I accept officially in front of everyone, I accept the adoption.
All right, Mr. Mora, you have your hand still raised?
Yes, sir, I do. I just wanted to remind everybody about the first public hearing of the Select Committee investigating the events surrounding the January 6th insurrection at the Capitol. I believe the first public hearing is going to be in prime time at 8 o'clock in the evening. So there are going to be, as I understand it, about 8 of those, but this is the first one. And I think that it would behoove all of us, to go ahead and watch it. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. All right, Ms. Herrera.
Yes, Mr. Vasquez is going to be my commissioner because he is not only fantastic, but he is a Democrat. And what I wanted to not make a motion, perhaps just bring the thought that because he is the only Democrat, and you all know how I feel about getting involved in local races. But in this case, because he is the only Democrat running in a quote unquote nonpartisan race against 4 Republicans, I think that we should honor him and honor ourselves by endorsing him and just get behind him 100%, because otherwise we're going to have a horrendous Republican representing us in that commission seat.
Thank you. All right. Does anyone else have anything?
I second it.
That's not
Mr. Chair.
That's
Mr. Chair.
Yes, go ahead. Who's that?
Robert Asensio.
Go ahead, Robert.
Good evening to all, and thank you, Mr. Chair, for acknowledging for a minute, but I'd like to make a couple comments about our good friend, Victor Vasquez. Not only is he a veteran, not only is he a public servant, has been a public servant, not only is he a historian, but the point that I want to make is something that is very seldom is not spoken about, is that his opponents, people are scared to speak about his opponents. We have an opportunity to stop infiltration of our county commission. You have 4 Republican opponents. By the end of the month, they'll probably have 3, because I believe one of them is going to drop out. I don't know which one is far more to the right. One is Donald Trump's, or was Donald Trump's state political coordinator, who was also present when Donna Shalala's office, when many of you were caught inside. He was present with the Proud Boys, and who really held our people, fellow Americans, hostage inside that building, would not allow them out. Then you have another man who has been selected by the county commissioner who's leaving. So now we have a county commissioner selecting who her predecessor will be, but worse yet, whether it's Donald Trump or Rebecca Sosa. We have elected officials or former elected officials dictating who our people will be, who will represent us. Folks, we have major disparity on that county commission. The last thing we need in a county that has seen some major issues concerning most of us, if not all of us, economic hardship that they have failed to address, whether it's rent control, whether it's property insurance, whether it's just regular taking care of transportation, the issues that affect all of us. We have an opportunity here today to get behind a candidate that is representative of not all of us. Sorry, he's representative of all of us. He's a guy that served our nation, has endured immense challenges, that is no different than most of us. He's worked his way up. And Victor, please forgive me for saying this, sir, councilman. You went from GED man, you quit high school to, bring home a paycheck for your family, all the way to PhD. This is a man who's walked the walk. He's the man that will represent us like we so desperately need in the county commission. I just ask you, please get behind this candidate. We have an opportunity to stop the hijacking of the county commission and give our mayor another ally on that commission that she does desperately need for us to get some better representation out of the county commission. I apologize for going on, but I could not remain silent. And I think we need to be bold and focused about who we want to represent us. We have an opportunity to make a statement, and by God, receive our due. Please get behind the only Democrat that has had the chutzpah, and I was going to use some choice words to describe his tenacity and courage to stand against people that will not represent us well. Thank you.
I second that
Thank you,
motion,
Robert.
what Millie made.
Okay, there's no motion. First of all, she didn't make a motion. And I think
Oh, I thought she did.
She did not. I'm sure Millie didn't make a motion because she realizes, of course, that qualifying is not closed for that race and that we are not able to endorse prior to qualifying being closed.
Oh, okay.
Everybody
I
on
got
here
you.
knows that, right? Okay, great.
I got you.
Ms. Judd, you have your hand up. The floor is yours.
It's come to my attention that our school board, District 4, is vacant. No one with the Democratic Party has registered in that district. So if you know anyone that lives in District 4 of the Miami-Dade School Board, please see if we can find a candidate to run in that race. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Frank, one more time. Go ahead.
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. Go.
Okay. As far as candidates is concerned, I live in what's called the new State House District 119, which basically runs from the Tamiami Trail. The eastern boundary is 147th Avenue. It abuts Johnny Farias's district, and it goes basically west to Chrome Avenue and down to Silver Palm Drive, which is 232nd Street. Be that as it may, there are 5 Republicans that are running in that district, and we don't have a single Democrat, nor do we have an NPA or any other similarly affiliated person. So what happens is, as we all know, under Florida law, if only these Republicans qualify, then those of us that live in this new district will have to choose among Republicans. I don't have the ability to do it, but I would certainly like to ask that if we could somehow do a search between now and June 17th at noon, which is the last moment to qualify, for this.
I think Dr. Lothar wants to respond to that.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Nancy.
Actually, not House District 119. I'm going back to School Board District 4. And School Board District 4 does have a brand new candidate as of yesterday, who is Maribel Balbin, who is a longtime resident of Miami Lakes, a Democrat, and the former president of the League of Women Voters in Miami-Dade County. So she is tremendously qualified. She does have grandchildren in the district, and I saw her at the school board meeting last Wednesday. So she is involved, and I do not anticipate that any other Democrat will be running in that district. We don't know, but I do not anticipate it, but she is a Democrat running in that race. And I don't have a website for her because she just filed, but I will put her name in the chat one more time. With respect to the school board races, as you know, they are going to be very controversial this year. She is not a Democrat, but longtime school board member Marta Perez is being challenged from the right by a former aide to Lieutenant Governor Jeanette Nunez. So there is going to be an attempt to flip the school board into DeSantis cronies. So
It's hard to get on the right there. There's not much space.
There's not much room on the right. That's fair. Thank you, Dr. Lothar, for clearing that up. Gabriel Gonzalez.
Hi, this is in direct response to Mr. Moore's point. We actually do have a person for District 119. That's me.
Who would that
filed
be?
yesterday. That's me. I actually filed yesterday. My paperwork just went through. So I'm working on getting all of my campaign stuff running. I just got my EIN number and the ability to open a bank account. So all that's happening tomorrow. And I'm still working on getting like a website up to date and everything. So I can't really drop anything in the chat. But rest assured, we do have someone representing District 119.
Thank you. I'll leave my contact information in the chat for you. Okay.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, wonderful. All right, is there anyone else who'd like to speak this evening? Going once, going twice. All right, before I end this meeting, I'd like to address something that happened earlier. With regards to our current process with credentials and accepting new members, we check that people are registered Democrat. The way that it's been for a few years now is that we check to make sure that people are registered Democrats. They fill out some information and send it into our credentials team, and then we bring them before the body to vote. I, like many of you, am quite disturbed by what almost happened today, and I would like to take a moment to, personally acknowledge Millie Herrera and thank her for doing that. And really, that is why we bring these things before the body, and it's not just automatic if you're a Democrat and fill things out that we go ahead and accept people as members. That being said, we are going to go ahead and take a look at our credentialing process and see if there's ways that we can avoid it coming as close to what almost happened today. That is it. I want to thank you all for your time this evening. I thank everyone who has volunteered to volunteer at the gubernatorial candidates forum on Saturday. I encourage more people to go ahead and come out there and get involved. I encourage everyone to attend if you're available. And thank you again for your time this evening. It's great working with you, and I look forward to what we're gonna do. Yes, thank you, Mr. Vasquez. All right.
Next meeting will be in August. Somebody asked.
Yes. We can call a special meeting if we need to for different things. We just need to make sure that everyone has 10 days, we have 10 days notice. So if anything comes up between now and then, we can definitely go ahead and do that also. All right. Thank you, everyone. Go Heat. Have a good evening. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.